r slash Game Tales. Last night the party continued their travel through the Underdark, following Dwarven Trail sign until they reached a warren of tunnels branching in every direction marked with the sign for danger ahead. Partway through the maze of caverns they are ambushed by a lone archer. The archer isn't doing a great deal of damage, but is managing to remain out of their reach as they attempt to fight back. Eventually one of them calls out, asking why they are being attacked. Their assailant pauses and responds that they are encroaching on her territory, and she's just defending her home. The adventurers discuss among themselves how to handle the matter, and call out an offer to her to put away weapons and travel through peacefully. She responds that she will allow it, as long as they stick to the main tunnel and do not search the others. Too late, one of the party had already looked down a side tunnel and found a statue of a dwarven ranger. He notices the incredible detail and, after a moment of reflection, and a very high knowledge roll, he realized what this territory belonged to. He returned to the group and whispered his discovery, but they agreed not to further attack her as they'd already agreed to pass peacefully. So they make their way down the tunnels, avoiding even a glance down the side passages. Except for one member of the party, who can't help but rubberneck as they make their way down the tunnel. He realizes his mistake when he looks to his right, and the torch illuminates the Medusa, her hood up but eyes glittering in the firelight. He manages to make his save and wrest his gaze from hers, and they hear her cry out, "Don't look at me!" in a panicked voice. Immediately, one of my players covers his mouth with his hand and says, "Oh, God, I feel so bad for her." The other players all nod solemnly and they press on. She follows, at a distance, until they are at the edge of her territory, preparing to cross an underground river. With little warning, they are swarmed by Kuo-toa emerging from the depths, and they manage to put them down swiftly. In the midst of this, they notice that the Medusa has aided them with some well-placed arrows. They eventually leave her territory entirely, but they spoke wistfully of the woman who was suffering a curse alone, and in darkness, and who could never look these people, who could have been her friends, in the eye without putting them in mortal danger. I just want to preface this with I'm not a killer DM. At the time of this posting I've killed 6 asterisk characters in 30 years of on and off playing / DMing. I launched a new campaign the other week. It's D&D in space but there's still magic. At any rate, party consists of a Jedi-esque paladin, a Krogan-like barbarian, a warlock who made a pact with South Park Mickey Mouse, a gnome with power armor, a Leonard Nimoy-inspired elf wizard / science officer and an Indiana Jones-like tabaxi rogue. For their first outing they went to investigate the concerns of a mining conglomerate regarding disappearing personnel and equipment on an Outer Rim colony. Spoiler alert, it's kobolds. Not space kobolds, not Tucker's kobolds, just kobolds. Things were off to a great start when the paladin sent a frag grenade down a kobold tunnel to the main warren, killing about half the kobolds in the adventure. Whatever that was, it was 100 GP well spent. The PCs did great during the first ambush. But then for reasons unbeknownst to me after I telegraphed another potential ambush point, the tabaxi rogue runs ahead, and I mean runs. He's instantly surrounded and quickly whittled down to the point that when he does finally attempt to flee after removing a kobold in his path he's killed via attacks of opportunity. Most unfortunate. I tell him it's still nowhere near as bad as the incident with the Beholder. A week goes by and he tells me he's working on a new character, Lore Bard, but it's not ready yet. I say why not bring the rogue back for one more go, killed by kobolds notwithstanding. Okay. This past week's adventure was almost as straightforward. Among the jobs on the board in the tavern was one to harvest space bee honey from the hive cluster on such and such a planet. The PCs decided that 3 GP a gallon was too good to pass up. I warned them that this campaign would be more difficult than the previous one. This dungeon was swarming with all kinds of bee-themed enemies, but there were also bee smokers that could produce an effect similar to calm emotions which would easily disperse a swarm of bees, the most numerous of foes, leaving the less numerous softball and man-sized bees as easy targets for the PCs to dispatch. Luckily, one of the players had also seen a beekeeping documentary and had anticipated the smoke mechanic, and another player rolled very well on a nature check, so tactics were good. Up until the final encounter, the PCs were doing great. Once the PCs broke into the royal chambers and viewed the hordes of bees that awaited them, it looked pretty bad. Then it quickly got worse. A giant space hornet broke through the hive exterior, spraying a cone of venom, catching a group of bees and the first two PCs at the front of the adjoining corridor, which again included the Tabaxi rogue. Insta-killed. I felt kinda bad, even though I wasn't even aware of where the rogue had positioned himself in the marching order at this point. The PCs brought down the hornet, which still had most of the chamber's bees clinging to it as it fell out of the hive, leaving the remaining honey reserves up for grabs. So for next week, I'm not taking any chances. I straight up gave the PC a Lozi fairy bottle where the fairy will heal him for 8 HP as a reaction if he is reduced to 0 hit points. Maybe he'll also consider standing next to the wizard and warlock. I'm running a custom D&D setting. My players are exploring a desecrated temple to a forge god. They've cleared out the monsters, and are trying to find and solve the puzzles needed to bring down the wards around a magic item. They've found the tiny door that leads to where they think the next puzzle is. The door is labeled, "Only a forge master may knock." Let's call 2 of my players, Overzealous Wizard and Wary Paladin. They occasionally form a slapstick duo. Ow! I run back to the forge room and grab all the tools I can carry, then run back A&D. DM, yes, knocking on the door with a hammer is suffici. Ow, what do I see? DM, in the light of your lantern, you see a hallway 1 foot wide and 5 feet long, leading to another door. Ow, I tie a rope to a hammer and throw it down the hallway repeatedly. DM, okay, yes, I guess that'd work. The door opens. Ow, hey, Tabaxi Ranger, do you want to join me? TR, okay. Ow, I grab onto her and teleport us both into the next room. DM, sure, you find yourselves squeezed together in a closet-sized room, and have just enough time to look around and see an obvious switch on the ceiling out of your reach. The trapdoor in the floor gives out beneath your weight, and the both of you plummet 20 feet into the water below. Ow, do I have time to activate my flying boots? DM, can you do that as a reaction? Then no. Ow, can I fly us out of the water? DM, sure. You are now flying and holding a wet cat. It's dark, but you can eventually find the ladder from when you were down here before. Ow, I use prestidigitation to start drying us off. DM, while they're doing that, what are the rest of you doing? WP, I think I'll throw some of the pile of tools into the room. DM, you throw 3 hammers on top of the trap door. Nothing happens. Ow, I'll leave TR on the ladder and fly back to the trap door to investigate it. DM, okay. What's everyone else doing? WP, I'm going to use Misty Step to teleport into the room, and my boots of spider climb to avoid falling. DM, yeah, that'll work. You can climb to the top of the room and throw the switch. How are you getting out? WP, I guess I'll have to go through the trap door. DM, ow, 3 hammers fall on your head. This story didn't happen at a table I was at, but it did happen just yesterday over in a gaming Facebook group. Figured that still counted. For folks who don't know me, I have a kind of side hobby where I like to write character conversions for Pathfinder. It started out of spite when I had a DM who wasn't very good at running a game, so I made my own personal Hulk as a cohort, but folks seemed to like the guides, so I kept writing them up. The project went into stasis for a little while, and the place I was keeping my archive is sort of going belly up, so I've been updating, polishing, and rehoming a lot of my older pieces. Yesterday I decided to share my recent update on my character conversion for Andrew Jackson, prefacing it with the statement that it was ideal for those looking to join an evil campaign, or for DMS who needed a murderous genocidal thug who enjoyed dueling in his free time. Mostly it just got some likes, and a few laugh reacts, and then that guy decided to, well, actually his way into the comments. To paraphrase, it was something along the lines of, "You misspelled hero." To which I replied, No, I did not." And, just to drive the point home, reminded the commenter that Jackson was a rogue president responsible for the atrocity of the Trail of Tears, and that he'd personally murdered dozens of people for minor slights to his honor, or even just because he could, with his own two hands. Andrew Jackson was a full-blooded American monster the likes of which should make your blood run cold. This individual, however, proceeded to up the ante. He moved from, "Jackson was a decorated war hero, and should be respected," rather quickly to, "It's only genocide if you're on the losing side." I noped out of the conversation after that, but I'm guessing there was worse said after that. One of the moderators reached out to me to let me know he'd been banned for racist comments regarding Native Americans, but that my post wasn't going to be taken down. So, end of the day, I consider that adventure a win. Preface: I'm a newbie DM, I've only ran a short-lived Fate Core Shadowrun homebrew, but I've never DM'd D&D before. I have played a few sessions in a dungeon delve, but never anything long-term. I've been listening to Critical Role this season. I was aware of it too late into their first campaign and bounced off of the sheer amount of catch-up I'd have to do, so when they announced Season 2 I dove right in. During a couple times on longer car trips I forced my wife to listen to them, and she seemed to enjoy them well enough. She wasn't crazy about it, but she did ask why I liked it so much, and I explained that the beauty of the game was the ability to do just about anything in a fantastical world, and that seemed to pique her interest. She is a creative person at heart but has a lot of anxiety about it. She draws and doodles all the time and is really talented, so I know there is a spark of creativity there that just needs some stoking. Because of her anxiety I didn't want to run a full-blown game with a group of people, and I wasn't sure how to do that at first. I was thinking of running a Fate Core game of something she was interested in but couldn't come up with anything concrete. Then Wizards announced the starter kit with 2-player rules, and I knew I found my solution. So I bought the kit when it came available in Canada and started reading the rules and adventure to get prepared. A few weeks ago we rolled up a Dwarven Cleric for her, and once we got all her stats and equipment sorted that was all the time we had for the night. So I went back to reading, and last night was the first session. It went really well. I did my best to voice the NPCs and her sidekick, but she still froze a bit because she wasn't sure what exactly she wanted to do, so I gave a few friendly nudges and some rule explanation. I'm not going to be an adversarial DM, I want her to have fun, and I even fudged some rolls during her first combat to prevent her dying. Turns out Ogre Jellies hit like a mother, at number $ER. We ended the night with a short rest after one fight that left her bloodied and her sidekick with 1 HP. For our next session I'm going to make sure she takes the time to explore the space and use her non-combat skills more. Mostly I just wanted to share, but if anyone has any other tips or suggestions I'm more than open to them. Me and a couple friends were playing Star Wars Force and Destiny FFG. Me and the other player were on a junk planet during the Clone Wars where we were investigating separatist sightings. We were accompanied by a squad of clones who helped us in most every aspect of this mission. Eventually we discover the small station that the separatists were working out of when I get an idea to grab some metal sheets, hold them in front of us, and inch forward with help from the sniper keeping his eye on the enemy patrols. The cast. Me, Kyle, as other player. GM, as the GM. The situation goes as follows. * we inch forward as planned. * we get close to the patrols. * I grab a severed battle droid head, GM allowed it. * I hold up droid head above my metal slab and begin talking in droid accent. Me, hey guys come over I found something interesting. * rolls presence check. * droids fail their cool check. * they come over one after another say hey that is interesting and then die like lemmings. * After the first few times this worked, I then grabbed a severed droid leg and stuck it out the side saying, "Oh yo Hutu soldier boy, come here," and it continued to work until the group of super battle droids, SBD, caught on to the ruse. They then said, "Wait, that droid is a traitor," and Kyle then grabbed a droid arm, pointed it at the SBDs and said, in droid accent, "You mean them?" The battle droids failed their cool check again and began engaging with the SBDs. By the end there was only one SBD left, which we had swiftly cut down. Up till this point we had kept our comm links off because we evidently did not need the clone's help, so when we then turned it back on we could only hear the gut-bursting, hernia-inducing maniacal laughter of the sniper while the other clones tried to calm him down. The GM was lenient with the rules because he just really wanted to see this play out, and to no one's surprise he was thrilled with the outcome. Today, after a long hard week of nursing school, my girlfriend fell asleep on us mid-session. We play in the living room with comfortable couches and chairs, and while half of the table was doing stealth and uncovering the plot, she had a few minutes off on her own and fell asleep. As our ranger found herself in an armoire, with the butler just about to investigate, she fell through a false door in the back. As I start describing the room, and the puzzle which I still had yet to put the finishing touches on, we hear a snore. Laughing it off, we call the session for the night, ending the session at a reasonable hour, on a high note, and buying me more time to finish up the puzzle. Looking forward to starting up again next week when we're all wide awake.